Hi guys, I'm back for another YouTube video, and I'm gonna watch reacting to inappropriate games you played as a kid. So let's get started. TheRiches.com.
Inappropriate games you played as a kid. We all remember playing games as a kid. Whether by ourselves or with our friends, games were an integral part of our childhood. That said, it's likely at some point you took part in a game that was clearly inappropriate. From video games to dangerous physical play, these childhood games are deemed inappropriate for a number of reasons.
Look away, look
but we
away.
played them all nonetheless. Slingshot fights. This simple yet extremely dangerous game required at least a couple of friends, some slingshots, and usually a pile of rocks. That's it.
Ouch.
In most cases, you didn't start out intentionally firing the slingshots at each other until someone got bored. Teams then proceeded to shoot rocks at each other while others dodged or returned fire. Looking back, we cringe at how dangerous this actually was, but at the time it was a lot of fun. The game usually stopped when someone got hurt. Everyone would run to the injured friend and make sure they were okay, but more importantly, make sure they weren't going to go home and tell their parents. Doctor. This game is played by a lot of kids when they are very young and very curious. As you'd expect, one child usually gives an exam to the other child. Sometimes it would just end with a check of the eyes, ears, and heart rate. However, to the dread of some parents, the game of doctor could also progress to a more thorough examination. For the most part, kids who took part in this game didn't understand what was really inappropriate about it. That explanation was often left up to the rather embarrassed or concerned parents to figure out.
I know what you mean now.
Kill the carrier. Looking back at this game, which went by many names,
because they might, as they help their body, they might put it in somewhere inappropriate.
You may wonder what was so inappropriate about it. After all, Kill the Carrier seemed to simply be a variation of rugby where the ball carrier is chased down mercilessly and tackled to the ground by his or her friends. In addition to having no protective gear, the tacklers often went out of their way to hit the ball carrier as hard as they could. Friends seemed to take a delight in watching the carrier run like a frightened deer, only to cry out in pain as several friends piled up on top, crushing them underneath. Crash. This game goes by a lot of names, but since the end result always seems to be the same,
Rugby one
Crash is appropriate. This pastime usually involved you and a group of friends.
That rugby one is quite scary. You just get in a big bundle and people just jump and you're like, ah, Jesus Christ.
Finding something like a shopping cart, empty metal drum, or oversized tire. Once you located a hill, one or more of your friends climbed in and were sent flying down, almost always crashing at some point. If you were lucky, you only got the wind knocked out of you. Though on more than one occasion, kids went home with bruises, missing teeth, and broken bones because of this fun yet inappropriate and totally dangerous game.
Just to think of it, I had 2 front teeth going out, extending that would really sting. Gone over the handlebars.
Left Auto. If outdoor activities weren't your thing, then you likely enjoyed a good chunk of your childhood inside playing video games. If you were a kid around the turn of the century, then you probably played at least one of the games from the Grand Theft Auto series. In 2001 and 2002, Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City were pretty advanced open-world games and were a lot of fun to play. They were also wildly inappropriate for kids, thanks to the extreme violence and sexual content. Driving parents especially crazy was the fact that kids could control a character who could employ the services of a prostitute to regain health. The series is still going strong today and still as inappropriate for kids as it ever was. Red Rover. In the 1990s, parents groups and schools started coming down hard on certain games that were deemed dangerous on the playground. The timeless and potentially dangerous classic known as Red Rover was at the top of their ban list. In short, the game saw 2 teams of kids face off with one chosen child from each team picked to try and break the locked arms of the opposing team. If you were called over, you charged like a bull, not caring if you caused your friend's shoulder, wrist, or arm injuries. If you were a defender, you tried your hardest to clothesline the oncoming player, often to the enjoyment of everyone watching. Spin the Bottle. This game was played at more than one childhood party, and even makes the occasional appearance at parties with older people today. Spin the Bottle is a very simple game where the person has to kiss whoever the bottle points to within a circle of friends. Hardly seems inappropriate, unless of course you were the parent. While kids loved the unpredictable excitement, adults were less than thrilled when they discovered their little ones locking lips. Choking game.
No.
The choking game is exactly what
that kissing one may be a little bit inappropriate, but it's natural kissing. But choking one, I have seen this one and it is very inappropriate.
To be, either on your own or with the help of a friend, you would get choked until you passed out. While it said kids did get a euphoric rush, most probably don't remember after they came to. Needless to say, this game was and continues to be inappropriate because of the physical damage it can cause to the participants. Mortal Kombat. When many of us were kids, Street Fighter was a popular arcade martial arts game.
I
In
love that game,
1992,
Street
Mortal Kombat
Fighter.
took the crown thanks to cutting-edge graphics, which saw realistic-looking fighters squaring off against one another. So what was it that was so inappropriate about it? Mortal Kombat was loved by kids, but hated by those kids' parents. That's because in this game, you could do things like rip out the heart of your opponent, remove their skull and spine from their body, or just make them explode into a pile of blood and body parts.
I love that
It was
game.
deemed excessive for the time, and looking back now, most of us can agree it's probably inappropriate for kids. Jarts. If you were a kid in the 1970s or 80s,
Yeah, I've heard this
you
one.
know what jarts are. These large metal-tipped lawn darts were meant to be a part of a game that was similar to horseshoes. Of course, kids got bored of throwing the darts at the target and decided it would be more fun to start throwing them at each other. The really adventurous kids played a game where you threw the darts straight up and then dodged the falling missiles. While thousands of kids were reportedly injured because of jarts, it's amazing that only one was killed. That was deemed enough, and the original metal tipped
Someone
lawn
was
darts
killed.
were banned throughout North America in 1989. So how many of these stupid games do you remember playing?
That is
Yeah, me
inappropriate
too.
and so
Pretty
is
much
that.
all of them. We hope you enjoyed the video.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next. I'll see you in the next YouTube video, and leave a big fat thumbs up for today's YouTube video. And thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. In the comments down below, say what you thought